Urgent! This has gone down in history. Is the sky over Russia now Ukrainian? Once formidable aircraft, now charred metal. Russia is losing its most expensive drones. Our forces strike without mercy. A new rifle is terrorizing Putin's mercenaries. The enemy army is on the verge of collapse. All this in our episode Hellpoint. A technological breakthrough on the battlefield. For the first time, Ukraine has deployed combat drones with artificial intelligence. Maximum precision, lightning-fast strikes, and not a single chance for the occupiers. In the very first skirmishes, the enemy didn't even realize where the attack came from. This is a new stage of the war, which is beginning right now. What kind of weapon do we have that can think? Find out in our report.
A revolution in the field of drone management and control. Ukrainian defenders are presenting their unique fire control system. No other country in the world has anything like this in its arsenal. Drone pilots are no longer needed. They have been replaced by artificial intelligence. The Ukrainian startup Strategy and Force Solutions has, for the first time, deployed its advanced Gogol and Mother drones for autonomous combat missions against Russian targets deep behind enemy lines.
A mission costing $10,000 is changing what previously required missile systems worth $3 to $5 million.
And this is far from the only instance of so-called mother drones being used at the front. One of the first here was the Ukrainian Dovbush T-10. Under its wing, this massive UAV carries several smaller FPV drones. After delivering them to the location, the Dovbush drops them from a high altitude, and then, with the help of an operator, they are guided toward a potential target. In this way, the UAV becomes a multi-purpose frontline drone for supporting both offensive and defensive operations of the armed forces of Ukraine, experts explain.
This allows us to address, for example, the issue of destroying electronic warfare equipment or radar systems, that is, air defense systems, because in this case, the small charge that an FPV drone can carry is enough to disable a large machine that operates and can monitor the airspace within 100 kilometers around itself.
But while the Ukrainian drone Dovbush is still piloted by a human, the domestic Hoholem is unique in that it is fully autonomous. Here, everything is controlled by artificial intelligence, which uses a combination of advanced sensors and lidars. This worldview enables the UAV to make decisions based on its flight trajectory and to carry out its mission just as well as a human pilot.
In a sense, it's similar to a self-driving car. For the autopilot to function properly, it needs a lot of cameras. There aren't as many obstacles in the air, so we make the system lightweight. That's right, we've developed our system of cameras, lidar, and communications, which allows the artificial intelligence to navigate, coordinate actions, and maneuver around obstacles. This enables autonomous flight, navigation, and interaction without GPS or constant operator control.
According to the developers, this approach allows the mothership drone to strike targets at distances of up to 300 kilometers.
We're talking not only about the operational rear areas of the Russian army, but also, accordingly, the strategic ones. This means the ability to strike both permanent and temporary personnel locations, command and control posts, and most importantly, both field ammunition depots and stationary ones as well. Additionally, it includes sites where heavy armored vehicles are concentrated. And note, all of this is within the rear infrastructure of the Russian occupation army itself, and not only in the occupied territories of Ukraine, primarily in occupied Crimea, which in turn reduces the ability to provide logistics, transfer personnel, armored vehicles, and fuel and lubricants to the Kherson and Zaporizhia directions, but most importantly, also on the territory of the Russian Federation itself. This poses a very significant challenge to the capabilities of the Russian side.
Let's take a closer look at the capabilities of the Hoholema. Under the wing of the AI-controlled mothership drone are two compact FPV drones. Each of them is equipped with a lightweight version of a smart autopilot.
This is a very serious nuance that essentially nullifies the capabilities of Russian electronic warfare systems at the moment of countering Ukrainian drones. Here, as they say, we are already ahead of the Russian Federation, both in terms of technological solutions and in the improvement of strike systems.
But the uniqueness of the Ukrainian development does not end there. According to the engineers of Gogol-M, its FPV drones can not only autonomously home in on a target, but can, quite literally, hunt it down. If necessary, the strike UAVs are even capable of landing and waiting for the target to appear, or for example, for it to leave its fortified shelters. Such drones can be left along the path of a convoy, ready to operate autonomously when enemy vehicles appear on the horizon or hidden near an enemy airfield.
It supports ambush missions, landing and waiting for targets, as well as autonomous real-time search.
The developers promise to soon reach a production volume of 50 Gogol-M mother drones per month and 400 strike FPVs for them. The engineers also plan to scale up the project in the future so that the mother drone can carry a larger payload.
In the future, we will see such advanced drones that will carry 6, 12, or maybe even more drones, which will first conduct reconnaissance and then carry out combat missions. That is thanks to the fact that the large drone, for example, conducts reconnaissance, then illuminates the target, and with the help of the FPV drone it carries under its wing, directly destroys that target.
A hellish day for Russian aviation. Russian bombers took to the skies, while Ukrainian drones reached as far as Siberia. The explosions are visible from space. The footage has simply blown up the internet. Putin's army is in a panic. Z propaganda can't keep up with the lies. Putin was not prepared for such audacity from Ukraine. Watch right now as the occupiers find themselves at the center of the web.
There it goes, bang.
Oh look, a new explosion. One from over there. Look at what's happening. I don't even know what just blew up now.
Right now, Ukraine's revenge. Hell on Russian airfields. The SBU hunting down Putin's aviation. Already minus 40 aircraft. The Russians are screaming in panic. All of Russia is exploding.
There goes another one flying.
Where do you see it?
There it is. It's flying by right now.
I see it, Anya. I see it. They're all heading for the airfield. Thank you.
It's exploding over there, over there, over there. It's even burning. You can see it. What is that? And something else just exploded recently.
A real apocalypse in Russia. Ukraine's defense forces have done the impossible. These explosions can be seen even from space. It is reported that the security service of Ukraine is conducting a large-scale special operation called WEB to eliminate enemy bomber aviation that attacks Ukrainian cities every night.
This is how the Belaya airfield looks right now. Pretty impressive. Strategic enemy aviation.
It is known that more than 40 Russian aircraft have been hit, including strategic bombers Tu-95, Tu-22M3, as well as the A-50. The enemy's losses have already exceeded $2 billion. Engels and Morozovsk have been destroyed. At this very moment, a third airfield, Diaghilevo in Ryazan, is also under attack. In addition, Ukrainian UAVs are attacking Siberia for the first time. Currently, aircraft are being launched from 4 different airfields at once as they try to save their equipment from Ukrainian retaliation. As the Russians say, this is called with class. Class means having the edge. It's when our guys can do things that no Iranian instructor or North Korean Special Forces soldier could ever teach you, no matter how much money you have. Now we'll show and tell you everything we know. Footage has appeared online showing Ukrainian FPV drones, which had approached in advance from Russian territory near the Sukhur airfield, taking off and immediately striking strategic aircraft. Russia has never seen such a daring strike before.
Which one is the 11th? The 11th? Look at what's happening. I don't even know what just exploded. Another one is coming. Where?
There it is, by its trajectory, right in that area.
How do you track them? Where are they coming from?
The strikes hit 4 airfields, Belaya, Diaghilevo, Olenia, and Ivanovo. And this is just the beginning. Monitors are recording a new wave of attacks by Ukrainian long-range drones. It is likely that the drones were manufactured by the Russians themselves at the same factories where they produced them for the war against Ukraine. The preparations for takeoff most likely also did not happen without the involvement of Ukrainian agents. Just imagine the scale of this operation, how many elements had to come together at a single moment. The security service of Ukraine literally humiliated Russia. Those who took part in the operation saved hundreds of innocent Ukrainian lives. Airfields are also burning. Olenya in the north of Russia and Belaya in the Irkutsk region, 4,500 kilometers from Ukraine. Locals are in a panic. Dozens of explosions can be heard. The sky is filled with smoke and the SBU drones are hitting their targets with precision. While the Kremlin remains silent, Putin's army is losing its elite aviation, the very aircraft that bombed Ukrainian cities every day. Now it's just a pile of scrap metal. After the powerful SBU raid, Russians were literally torn apart, even on Telegram. Even Z-bloggers are no longer hiding their panic. A wave of mockery has started in Russian public forums about how Putin might respond. By the way, these same forums are posting not only footage of explosions, fires, and panic, but also the bodies of dead truck drivers from whose vehicles the launches were carried out. It is likely that they could have been agents of the Ukrainian Special Services who were eliminated after the drone raid. And now attention! Satellite images of the airfield in the Irkutsk region have appeared, taken literally yesterday. According to reports from public sources, an entire Russian aviation swarm was based there. 7 Tu-160s, 6 Tu-95MS, 39 Tu-22M3s, 2 Il-78Ms, 6 An-26s, 2 An-12s, and 30 MiGs. And that's not all. Most likely by now the majority of them have already turned into remnants of former glory. Meanwhile, real hell is unfolding right now in Russia's Severomorsk. The city services submarines equipped with nuclear weapons. This, for a moment, is the main naval base of the Russian Northern Fleet. Now, more about the airfields. Olenya Airfield in the Murmansk region is a serious threat to Ukraine. Strategic bombers capable of carrying long-range cruise missiles are stationed there. Despite the remoteness of the target, they can still strike any point in Ukraine. Russia is deliberately relocating aircraft there to complicate Ukrainian intelligence efforts and reduce the risk of losing planes near the border. From there, strikes are often carried out on civilian targets, resulting in casualties.
One more is flying. Where?
There it is, following its trajectory, right in that area.
And how do you figure out where they're coming from?
Man, the Belaya airfield looks really nice right now, with its runways and facilities appearing well-maintained and orderly. There is also the presence of strategic enemy aviation in the area, which could indicate increased activity or potential threats.
Russian. That's Olenogorsk, near the Kurinka River. There's a bridge there. And the truck in Olenogorsk is parked at the gas station. The driver arrived, he's running around in a panic, and drones are flying out from under the tarp, from under the truck, heading toward Visokoye. They've just detained him there, Grinchik. He says, I was told to come to this location, that someone would meet me here. He arrived, and the drones started flying out one after another.
Announcer Ivanovo Airfield, the base for A-50 aircraft and transport planes Il-76 and An-22. These aircraft serve as airborne command posts, coordinate operations, conduct reconnaissance, and control troops. Striking the A-50 aircraft significantly reduces Russia's ability to carry out effective attacks and planned strikes. Its main task is to detect and track aerial and surface targets, as well as to guide fighters and strike aircraft to them. These very aircraft are one of the main problems for our aviation because they are capable of detecting targets hundreds of kilometers away, and now they are burning. Diaghilevo Airfield, Ryazan region, is one of the key bases for launching Kh-101 and Kh-22 missiles, which are regularly used to strike Ukrainian cities and energy infrastructure. It is an important site for preparing massive missile strikes. Belaya Airfield, Irkutsk region. Bombers and A-50 aircraft are based there. It is located approximately 1,800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Attacks on such distant bases force Russia to move its aircraft even farther away, which complicates logistics, increases preparation time, and raises maintenance costs. The destruction of aircraft at these airfields will significantly reduce Russia's ability to carry out airstrikes and will decrease the number of missile attacks on Ukraine.
Russian white. There it is. The drone has taken off again. Where it's taking off from, I have no idea. There it goes, damn it. Both of them out of nowhere shit. Whoa. Unbelievable, damn. Just look at how incredibly far technology has come. It's honestly amazing. And yet, what exactly are we even doing here, sitting behind the wheel, damn it?
Woman. Ah, Russian. There's another explosion. Woman. Oh, look, a new explosion. Russian. There, they hit it again. Woman, Russian. One went off. Woman. Was that a drone? Is it not going to hit us? Russian. A fresh drone just arrived. Woman. Look, again. Russian. Everything here is blown up. Woman. They're blowing up everything. Mom. Russian. Whoa. Another one of their drones. Woman. Oh, Russian. This one's fresh. Woman. Lesha, are they going to kill us? Russian. Hell if I know. If it hits the residential area, we're screwed. If it goes to the airfield, screw it. Woman. What did they say? Are there planes already? Russian. That's it. They're hitting all along the Angara. Woman. Oh, there are still explosions. Oh, look, a new explosion. Again. Is that from a drone? Will it not hit us? Russian. Oh, it's still shooting.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Oh, what a mess. The Russian Federation has literally been left with nothing. They wanted to launch a new plane and impress everyone, but instead they embarrassed themselves. Russians are used to this kind of thing. The air show with the presentation of their new bird fell apart, the sky is empty, the old equipment is lost, and they couldn't create anything new. What's next? Will they be flying on brooms? All about this coming up.
Russia has suspended work on its main pride, the A100 Premier radar aircraft.
Just judging simply by what life is presenting to us, I can see the future is happening right now.
We hope that in the very near future, we will have the ultra-modern A100 aircraft whose capabilities will surpass the previous model by 2 times. We will be able to control the airspace situation at any time of day or night.
According to propaganda claims, the A100 is supposedly capable of detecting enemy bombers and fighters at distances of up to 1,000 kilometers, as well as concentrations of armored vehicles at a range of up to 500 kilometers.
Today, the A50U is in no way inferior to its foreign counterparts like the E3, and in some respects, it is even better. But the aircraft we are building today will undoubtedly be superior.
However, these tactical and technical specifications have remained nothing more than loud Russian statements. As we can see, the possibility of actually implementing the A100 Premier program has, up to this point, in practical terms, essentially continued to remain purely on paper.
The aircraft was grandly announced on national television channels, and the official commissioning date was postponed 5 times. The last one passed in the year 2024.
The maiden flight of the brand new A100. The Vega concern tested the Russian airborne early warning and control aircraft in the sky. Engineers tested the aircraft's aerodynamic characteristics and the operability of its equipment. A radome with an antenna has been installed, which allows for rapid deployment of a radar field. The system is capable of detecting and tracking aerial targets, as well as coordinating the flights of fighter jets and strike aircraft. Serial deliveries of the A100 will begin in 2020.
The new radio technical system was designed based on Western components. And therefore, after 2014, specifically after the annexation of Crimea and the invasion of Ukrainian territory, as well as the introduction of sectoral and personal sanctions by Western countries against key enterprises of the Russian military-industrial complex, this program was effectively frozen.
And it was being prepared as a high-tech modern replacement for the A-50 aircraft, which were built back in Soviet times.
The radar itself, which was made back in the 1980s, still delivers performance characteristics that surpass those of a comparable American aircraft in terms of detecting targets at low altitudes against the background of land and sea surfaces.
There is various information being reported about the number A-50s, at most up to 10 units. That's the maximum number. As for the American AWACS, well, the thing is, their tactical and technical characteristics are several times superior to those of the Soviet and Russian models.
And now Russia has decided to resume production of the A-50 aircraft. The last such aircraft was produced in 1991, and for decades, manufacturers were only engaged in upgrading the machines to the A50U version.
Well, this is a newly modernized aircraft. The engines and avionics have been replaced. It's practically a new plane that's already been made. Therefore, as of today, there are no plans for further modernization. But naturally, we will consider and work on this to improve things even further. There will probably be something to do.
And after these changes, how well does it meet modern requirements?
This is the most modern aircraft. Today, this is the most modern aircraft.
During the Soviet Union, the production of this type of aircraft was up to 3 per year. At the same time, the military-industrial complex of the Russian Federation is only capable of modernizing this type of aircraft, and even then, it takes about 2 years, not to mention building new ones.
Since the start of the full-scale invasion, Ukrainian forces have shot down 2 Russian A-50s over the Sea of Azov and near Yeysk. Another one was damaged on the territory of Belarus.
Here's this big, powerful machine. When the guys get it up in the air and start working, at that moment all of Russia's friends are in high spirits, while the enemies, of course, are very worried.
The Russian side was ultimately forced to admit to some very serious problems in the Russian air defense systems. In other words, actual gaps have formed that the Russian side is currently unable to fill.
It turns out that no matter how much you talk about your own greatness, if you don't back it up with real achievements, it's nothing but empty words.
The Russian Merlin has vanished into oblivion. This drone was Putin's pride and cost the commanders who lost it their heads. Our guys pulled off something. Drones are everywhere. The occupiers resort to revenge, pushing forward with an offensive. The Ukrainian armed forces are breathing down their necks. You'll hear all the details about this right now.
In Donbass, a Russian reconnaissance drone, Merlin VR, worth $300,000, has been destroyed. Ukrainian defenders from the battalion of the 53rd Separate Mechanized Brigade eliminated another expensive reconnaissance drone of the Russian army, the Merlin VR. The device was attempting to conduct aerial reconnaissance over Ukrainian positions, but was successfully destroyed. As noted by the unit, this type of UAV is considered one of the most expensive in the Russian arsenal. Its estimated cost is about $300,000 Host. The loss of such equipment is significant for the enemy, as it concerns not only expensive hardware, but also a reduction in their ability to conduct precise surveillance of the front lines of the armed forces of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine has brought drone production to a qualitatively new level. With its current capabilities, the domestic defense industry is able to produce up to 10 million drones per year. This was stated by the Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine during his speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue Security Forum in Singapore. In his speech, he spoke about the potential of the Ukrainian defense industry, especially in the field of drone technologies. It is noted that Ukrainian drones are significantly cheaper than their foreign counterparts and have already proven their effectiveness in combat conditions. Ukraine is actively developing innovations not only in the air but also on land and at sea. Today, the country's industry has all the capabilities for large-scale drone production, up to 10 million units per year. It was also emphasized that Ukraine's experience in warfare is already leading to changes in military doctrine, where drones have become a key strike tool. Currently, they account for approximately 80% of successful attacks on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Russia is increasing pressure in the Sumy region. The city of Sumy, located on the northeastern section of the front, is under threat. Russian forces continue their advance deep into the Sumy region. The capture of certain settlements has already allowed them to advance 6 to 7 kilometers from the state border. The length of the front in this area is about 15 kilometers, and fighting continues. One of the key directions of this attack is Yunakivka. This settlement has strategic significance because it is located closest to the city of Sumy itself. Its capture could significantly change the tactical situation and give the enemy the opportunity to deliver more precise strikes on the regional center. At present, the evacuation of civilians from the frontline areas is underway. Intense shelling and the advance of Russian troops threaten not only the surrounding villages but also the Sumy district itself. At the same time, statements about creating a buffer zone in the border areas, which were previously made by Russia, appear to be a cover. In reality, this is about expanding the combat zone with the aim of further occupying the entire Sumy region. The aggressor pursues similar plans regarding the Kharkiv region and other eastern regions as well. The established line of contact will not be stable. It will shift as Russian forces advance until the goal of complete territorial capture is achieved. The situation on the front as of June 2nd, 2025, 146 combat engagements were recorded over the past day. The enemy is actively using missiles, aviation and kamikaze drones. More than 5,800 shellings and over 3,600 drone attacks have been recorded. The most intense fighting continues in the Kupiansk, Lyman, Pokrovsk and Novopavlivka directions. The enemy has carried out strikes on a number of settlements in the Kharkiv, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. The defense forces of Ukraine struck 13 enemy concentration areas as well as destroyed equipment and command assets. The occupiers' losses over the past day amounted to about 1,140 personnel, tanks, armored fighting vehicles, artillery systems, air defense assets, hundreds of UAVs, vehicles and missiles were also destroyed. The front remains tense but under control. So that's all for today. Tune in for the next news update tomorrow.
Announcer, this has never happened before. A new generation rifle is making its way to the front. A single shot from it drives the occupiers mad. Nothing helps. Not trenches, not armor, not even combat experience. In the hands of our defenders, such a weapon works wonders. Minus the Russians and plus motivation for the armed forces of Ukraine. This rifle speaks loudly even when it fires quietly. More details about this in the following report.
Announcer, from so-called assembly from parts to our own production in less than a year. In November 2024, the Ukrainian state company Ukroboronprom announced the start of licensed assembly of Czech Zbrojovka Brand 2 assault rifles. And now, 6 months later, the domestic factory is already ready not only to assemble the Western model of the weapon, but also to independently produce all the necessary components for it. Announcer, this is already up and running. The first step is the installation and production of small parts. The next step is full-scale production, meaning the complete transfer of technology to Ukraine. The Brand 2 assault rifle, as Western arms manufacturers assure, is a next-generation automatic weapon. This modern firearm system was developed based on the American AR rifle and the Soviet AK. As a result, the Czechs took the best features from both models and combined them into an entirely new weapon, both in design and internal components.
In terms of quality and resistance to dirt, it seems to me that the Kalash now has a worthy competitor.
Narrator, resistance to dust and dirt is not the only advantage of the Czech Brand 2. Due to its design differences, the assault rifle immediately won over Ukrainian defenders. Today, it is quite popular on the front lines.
Soldier, everything works perfectly. We haven't tested it in a pile. The weapon isn't highly accurate, but the automatic mechanism works great. The barrels are durable and intuitively understandable.
Narrator, at the same time, the Czech rifles assembled in Ukraine have a high level of modularity, which allows the weapon to be quickly adapted for specific tasks.
What do we see on top? Undoubtedly, this is an advantage of the SCAR. This is an extruded upper receiver, a Picatinny rail. It is uniform along its entire length. You can mount your aiming devices and any optics along the entire length of the upper receiver on the Bren.
Narrator, in the Czech Republic, the Bren 2 is in service with both army and police units. In Indonesia and Mexico, the rifle is mainly used by police and special forces, while in France, it is used by gendarmerie special units. As for Ukraine, the Bren 2 has seen the widest use among special units of the main intelligence directorate. Most often it can be seen in the hands of Kraken fighters and members of the International Legion.
Of course, this weapon is not highly accurate, but what can in fact be noted is that this carbine has a rather high rate of automatic fire, and that's actually quite nice. You do need to learn how to control it a bit, as practice has shown not everyone manages to do it right away, especially with the short barrel.
Narrator, today the Ukrainian factory producing Czech assault rifles is confidently reaching a capacity of up to 400 rifles per day. However, by the end of 2025, both domestic and Western arms manufacturers assure that our country will be able to independently produce tens of thousands of Bren 2 units.
Narrator, that's all from me for now. This was me, Darina Hutsakalo. Even more scorching news from the front lines in our next broadcast. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon.